quiet when you two walked in. What'd you do?
Please stand for the pledge. That's like
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Village of Alexandria Bay, July 11th, 2023.
So, here, Trustee King.
Here.
Trustee Demo. Here. Trustee Fulmer. Here. Mayor Douglas.
Here. Sir.
Sorry about that.
Oh, wow.
You got something to say? No.
Yes, I do. The parade is coming up for the Christmas in July. I know we can't do anything about it now, but in the future, before we okay something like that, can we get them to talk to the groups that are going to provide safety concerns? We're concerned about this being Saturday night, in the middle of July. They just approached the village police like maybe 3 days ago, and Josh called us to let us know, asked us what we could help with. Other than being at the meeting when they asked for permission to do it, they had no idea it was going to be at night. I thought it was something they were going to try and pull late afternoon or something like that. But that's all we asked, is that the village the next time, before something like that comes up, make them come and talk to the groups that's concerned before they approach you guys. Please, thank you.
Thanks, Walt. Anybody else?
Right over
Tom.
which one here? Hutchison's, I have you later. Okay. And I have, oh, no.
Mr.
okay.
Polino.
Yes. Is it possible to get an update on how the village plans to enforce the noise ordinance on weekends downtown? And the second part of that question is, how late is our police presence downtown on the weekends?
Police presence, typically, I don't want to give exact hours, but 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning is their end of their shift. I do know that the meter that measures noise needs to be sent to Watertown and calibrated, but I'll talk to Josh about that and see about the noise limit and the enforcement. Yes, sir.
It needs to be taken care of.
Yeah,
because it's significant into the wee hours.
I can hear it at my house up almost to Route.
Put on the corner of Washington and to hear it until 2 in the morning. So I'm sure that you probably do too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public concerns? Okay, correspondence.
So I'm sorry, what was the answer actually, that it will be taken care of as soon as possible?
Yes, as soon as we can get that meter certified, and we will proceed to make sure that's looked at.
And
Yes,
that's in process now?
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Correspondence, we have a letter to the New York State Senate. This letter is from Senator Mark Walczak from Watertown for the 49th Senate District, and this is going to Senator Liz Krueger, and she's somewhere down around Albany. The letter is, Dear Senator Krueger, the Village of Alexandria Bay is waiting for a $100,000 reimbursement for more than 5 years for a project that's been authorized for completion and subject to be paid for. The commitment was made to Alexandria Bay through the state and municipal SAM facilities program in 2018 out of money from an adopted state budget. The project includes $100,000 in order to improve the old Chamber of Commerce building, was approved under the office of Senator Rick. Project ID is number 12913, and its current status is that it is in state approval. While this promise predates my term, that's Senator Mark Walzig. In the Senate, we can both agree it's critically important that the state fulfill its obligations. When monies are set aside for a grant program provided in a budget by the vote of the legislature and the governor's pen, then promise to a municipality who follows all the rules, there's only one answer: pay up. Whether you disagree with the project or find the political philosophies and voting tendencies of upstate New York distasteful, has absolutely nothing to do with your obligation to fulfill the promise made to Alexandria Bay. As the chairwoman of the Senate's Committee on Finance, I implore you to immediately approve the reimbursement for the same grant, and if there's reason for which you have the inability, please contact me immediately. For your convenience, I've included the contact information for the recipient should you feel it necessary to reach out to them directly. Within 5 years is an unacceptable amount of time for a municipality to wait for payment. I'm sure you'll agree. Thank you in advance for your assistance in this matter. Respectfully, Mark Walzig, Senator, New York State District 49. Motion to approve minutes from June 13th, 2023, regular meeting, special meeting, June 27th, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Campany. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Motion to pay the bills, abstract number 1, 2023 of fiscal year 2023, 24.
I'll make a motion.
Demo, second by trustee Palmer, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Trustee reports. Trustee Caputo.
The only thing I've got is on the Riverwalk. We talked yesterday about and talked to how we can make the dive park so that they're not encroaching on the Riverwalk. And Jarrett had a great recommendation to put the barriers back that we had. And so hopefully in the very near future, the DPW will be able to do that and be about 6 to 10 feet back, so that the divers have a area that they can drop their stuff and they can still park there and get ready, but not be on the sidewalk. If we could just figure out some way to get a little sign there to leave the sidewalks accessible to pedestrians, so that when people are trying to do the Riverwalk, they're not deterred because of the divers. And I think that's a great solution, because if they can't take their cars all the way up to the sidewalk or even on the sidewalk, it'll give them that extra area. So I'm looking forward to seeing that done, and hopefully that can appease both the divers and the people looking out for the Riverwalk. Other than that, I've been by the playground a few times and always see lots of kids out there, and it's nice to see kids outside playing, and all seems to be going well.
Good. Trustee Palmer.
Okay, at the beach, we have 4 lifeguards who all seem to be working out. Today, we were all doing our part, cleaning up the beach. They raked, 20 to 30 feet in, but then the rest of the beach, we picked up pine cones. People are complaining that the beach was dirty, and what it really was pine cones. So today we picked up pine cones, and they're going to continue to keep an eye on that. For the playground there, we asked for another load of, it's not mulch, wood chip, to just be a little safer there. So that's scheduled for the dock, or the lifeguards is good. At the dock, bathrooms and everything, the 6 dock attendants that we have are keeping an eye on everything. They are doing a good job cleaning up the bathrooms. If they have a really, really bad issue overnight, they call for DPW. If anybody has any complaints, let me know. And, nobody's fallen in, nobody's, messed up anybody's boat. They're all very eager, and they're eager to help and do whatever we need them to do. I've started to talk to them about this Saturday is the Thousand Islands Charity Poker Run, so they kind of know what that's going to be and all the people that are going to be down there. In anticipation for that, coming in, when you're walking towards James Street, on the left is the Hospital Empire parking lot. That building that's there that was overgrown, they have now weed whacked that and are continuing to weed whack that parking lot, just because there's going to be a lot of people coming into the village to see that and everything else. And right now, that's all I have.
And then on a note, we talked yesterday about the dots and to let the public know. There's a toilet missing in the ladies' bathroom. It's on order. The way it mounts against the floor and against the wall is a special order. You can't just buy a Kohler or a Bold and put it there because they make them different. So that spot's missing until the order comes in. So people out in the community going, oh my God, there's a toilet missing. Yes, there is. It's on order. Like everything today, it's on back order. Sorry. Mr. King.
Heard good things about both playgrounds. The kids really seem to be enjoying those. Several people have commented on that. I walked around the park and the pavilion. I think it looks awesome. Concerns about the long grass, but we're still letting it become established before we go up there and mow crazy. Maybe a little weed eating would be good, but other than that, I think it looks great up there. I do think we need a camera up there just for monitoring things.
Yep, I need to get the inside camera. I'll talk with Christian about that. And again, we opened it up just before the 4th of July from the construction. The public still gotta realize that you can't just go up and mow brand new grass because it'll rip it out and kill it. You've gotta let it establish itself.
Gordon Court has a new young man. His last name is Ashley, and he is like the ground supervisor, which means he's looking at all the electrical conduits, and there's the meters that are on boards over those boards. But he is on the job, I'll tell you that. He's a good addition. Everything's going well. Hearts for Youth started their summer programs with fishing, golf, pickleball, and something else. Can't remember right now. And we did receive the St. Lawrence Council Arts Grant for $5,000. We also have, if you look over there, the community garden was demolished today, and Hearts for Youth also got a grant and public funding for a raised bed garden, which will be wheelchair accessible and have the wire over it so the deer and the bunnies can't get it, which was a big problem. Golf course is going good. Tennis court and pickleball we'll talk about later. The library book sale is moving along, and that will be over mid-August. That's about it.
We did have a workshop yesterday on a lot of projects that are needed in the village. I did get a contact today for a company that does paint lines in the village. I don't have a estimate for it, but I do want to contact them to see if it would be worthwhile for the village to hire them, have them, they could do it in one night, get it done. It would get the downtown painted and looking good, and maybe we should look at that. Another thing I under my part is, several years ago, the village voted no on the cannabis law. And the reason that we voted no was New York State gave us a deadline of that December to go yes or no whether we're gonna participate with the sale or we're not. The rules and regulations weren't gonna be published until the following year. If you vote no, you could vote yes later. If you voted yes, you could never back out. We voted no. The rules and regulations are out now, and several people have approached me, and maybe we should, I'll see about getting the rules and regulations published, put in everybody's mailbox, so that next month we can have time to read them and discuss it.
Do you have to have a,
We already did a
Public
public
meeting?
hearing 2 years ago on the whole subject.
right, and that's why we voted no, so I would think if you are gonna have a
The,
meeting.
the reason we voted no was not because of the public. We voted no because of New York State not providing the rules of how it's gonna be handled. It'd be almost like, I'm gonna give you a brand new vehicle next week, but I'm not gonna give you the instructions on how to put it together until next year. You can't do justice without knowing the rules and regulations.
No, I understand that, but I'm just suggesting that if we're going to look at this again, we might wanna have a public hearing.
We can,
You
On
can
that.
discuss it.
pardon me?
And you can discuss it, Judy. If you decide to move on it, you would have to do a public hearing. You
Okay,
can have open discussion on it at any time. You just can't move forward and make any
without,
major decisions without
Without-
a public hearing,
Okay.
rescinding the other and
Right.
okay.
changing
Okay.
all of it.
Want to bring up, with the fire department, dear Mayor Jarvis, village board, members of the fire department that are unable to attend training and fight fires have expressed an interest in possibly forming a fire department auxiliary. The reason for this is that we have reworked our outdated bylaws and have instituted a point system for the members to remain as active firefighters. We have set 100 points plus maintain the mandatory New York State training guidelines. Points can be achieved in numerous ways. For example, points for years of service, attending meetings, work details, training, fundraising. This group still wants to be a helpful asset to the department, but don't feel they will be able to maintain the standard to remain active. This auxiliary would not just be for senior members, but open for anyone wishing to join. They would form their own bylaws and membership guidelines. Given approval to proceed with this endeavor, the department would keep you and the entire board up to date with how the auxiliary is proceeding. That's from the officers and members of the Alexandria Bay Fire Department.
I have a question. As the clerk treasurer of the village, who's funding this? Is this gonna be another line item for the, under the village taxpayers, or is this,
That I couldn't tell you.
on their own?
I think probably beyond that.
Okay.
So that's something we could think about and discuss it, or, we can talk about it now or later, or,
I think it's a good idea if you get more people involved and want to help the department, as long as it's not an expense for us.
right,
I think the more support they have, the better.
exactly.
Do they have to pay dues?
No.
Okay.
I see them more as supporting, like, at fires, having the coffee and the refreshments and the promoting and the fundraising and that kind of stuff. Am I right, Penny? Penny?
Because when Critter had his business, he would make sure that we had coffee and sandwiches and stuff like that. Even the Big M, when they had it, Daly's had it in Willing, they would make sure that they would bring coffee and sandwiches and stuff like that. Just something that we had that was big. So, I mean, without them, we would have had nothing. Redwood does bring stuff that happens to be in the Redwood district. But if you got a big one, you gotta take care of the people that are there.
And they would assist with the fundraising, the chicken barbecues, and, I mean, more manpower is always needed for any club, I think.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, fire departments, it seems like I've heard that in other fire departments, isn't that kind of a
A lot
normal
of them
thing?
do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
Alex?
a lot of the Legion has an auxiliary, there's a lot of organizations that have, and I don't mean this in a derogatory, but an underling, that provide support. They may not meet the requirements, but they want to participate and help and show support. I think it's a good idea.
I don't have a problem with it either, just the concern that Molly already mentioned, that it just doesn't become another line item in the budget to support that in order to have people stay in the fire department.
So if Critter, the Big M, brought stuff to you, I'm assuming it was free.
It was donated.
They donated,
So
yeah.
how is that gonna happen now? How's the auxiliary gonna do that?
We would have to buy it, it would have to come out of the fire department money.
Okay.
For the most part, my grandmother's aunts, great aunts, mother, family was involved with it for 60 years between Redwood, Plessis, Teresa, Philadelphia, and they are a huge asset to the department.
Well, especially if you're on scene for any, a real large, a given amount of time. You know, you're there
You know,
7 hours.
summertime you need cold drinks, winter times you need hot drinks. If you're really there a long time, they'll make sandwiches, donuts, some of these people get up in the middle of the night and they're there almost all day and haven't had anything to eat or drink, barely time to go to the bathroom. It's,
And I'm sure a lot of this would still be donated, but they could put the food together to make the sandwiches here, make the
Yes.
coffee here,
Mhm.
and it doesn't necessarily all have to come prepared from
you wanna make
the
another?
vendors. I move that we support this program.
I'll second it.
Well, look at us all.
There was
That
all
was a yes by
members.
everybody.
Motion by trustee Campanini, second by trustee Fulmer, to approve Alexandria Bay Fire Department Auxiliary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's all I have. Let me jump to zoning for Mr. Schimmel.
Maybe a little review on zoning over the last few years. Usually issue anywhere from 30 to 32, 33 permits. I've already issued 32 already this year. So it's certainly an uptick in activity in the village, which is good. Not only individuals, but businesses too with it. So, that's a nice thing to see. We had 4 complaints with grass. One of them I deemed an emergency on Walton Street. There was brush hanging over the sidewalk and coming up through the joints, which in that time, the DPW can go in automatically, and we don't have to wait the 3 days to remedy the violation on that part. The other violations with grass have been, they didn't get it corrected within 3 days, so then it falls on the DPW's responsibility with it, and I'll let Jared, determine his workload, with that. As you realize, we've been working on the comp plan now for probably 15 months or so. We're getting close to getting to the end. We would like to have like a public meeting to review in draft form to the public what we're proposing in the zoning changes with it. And then depending on the feedback, we may have to do some adjusting before we bring it back to the village board for your consideration and, a public hearing from that end of it. Talk about the cannabis, I understand, the ins and being in and out. We're talking about it a little bit in the comp plan, whether we certainly know a lot more now than we did 2 years ago as far as the rules and regulations and stuff with it. So, probably if that's something, if you, the trustees get to that point, I'll bring in with, the comp plan committee to go over, our thoughts and stuff with it. That's about all. I have Russ is here, who's chairman of the comp plan, whether he wants to add anything more to it. Russ?
Well, okay. I was hoping Mr. Burrows was gonna be here tonight, but one of the things that we've run into is we are approaching the subject of short-term rentals. And there's a little bit of an unknown from us on the committee and even Andy from the Watertown Planning Board as to what exactly our jurisdiction is on that, as far as parking, occupancy. One of the things we've been kicking around is holding accountability, and in order to do that, to have a registry or a business license that each one needs to apply for that gives us not an LLC or a corporation, but a name and a phone number if things go off the rails of somebody who's responsible for this thing. The question is, does that become a business license, or is that something that we can still get under the umbrella of zoning? We're looking for a little advice on that. And again, I was hoping Mr. Burrows was gonna be here tonight, give us a little insight on that maybe, but we don't wanna waste a lot of time on the subject if it ends up not being applicable to what we're trying to do.
I do know the town has been talking about it, and I know the county, Mr. Phil Reed has been talking about it also.
Yeah, the town has, I was actually asked to be on the town, time constraints, I just couldn't do it, but, they've really gone, all out. I think part of the issue that they've run into now is they've realized that a lot of the stuff that they are proposing is not really falling under zoning. And I know that they reached out to Andy at the planning board in the county, and, I'm not sure where that stands now, but I think that they're kind of on hold until they get a little more guidance too.
I'll try getting a hold of Mr. Reed and see what the county is doing on that. Anything else, sir?
No, that does it, my system questions.
DPW, police report. Police department had 34 complaints, 0 arrests, 1 vehicle and traffic ticket issued, 4 warnings, 10 parking tickets issued, 1 warning, and 4 building checks. Let's go to old business. Ready streetscape projects. Thanks, Lee.
You had Lee.
Gregor?
Yeah, the ready projects. We talked about the schedule and the remaining components. We were hopeful that the dock components were actually gonna be delivered this week. So that would have been Lower James and the gangways for the Upper James. And unfortunately, they did not meet their deadline, and they're not gonna meet it. It's kind of a common theme. I think every deadline or schedule that they've given, they have not met. Unfortunately, they went bankrupt, as I've mentioned before, and we're kind of at their mercy for the delivery of those components now. Probably towards the end of this week, between DC and our office, we'll reach out to them again and see what the updated schedule is, and let the board know where they stand. The other things, there's lighting that still has to be done on Upper James. I think they'll probably hold off on that until the new gangway is in place. The other items, the contractor has given us a preliminary proposal for the lighting, additional lighting, which would include the existing floaters, the finger docks, and lighting along the river walk. So hopefully I'll have everything together the next week so we can sit down and look at those proposals and make a decision on how the village wants to move forward. Other items, let's see, I think for the most part the wharf is complete except for the railings. And those, the submittal's been reviewed and approved, and I don't have a timeline yet for those. But as soon as they go into manufacturing, we should get a schedule for those.
Is the lift finished?
I talked to Tim today, Tim Maloney, and he thought for the most part the lift was complete, just not usable until the railings are complete.
Okay.
Other items, let me see, I just had a couple notes. Payment applications, there's a payment application, I think that's on the schedule for
Yep.
both
Yep.
PC builders and for, the electrical contractor. Let's see. I think that's most of the ready updates, unless I know I've actually pulled up the YouTube, camera on the 4th of July. It looked like the wharf was getting a lot of use. There was, quite a few people down there for the fireworks.
It was nice. Behind the pavilion, I mean, people were having picnics all over. And
Yeah.
It was,
a
it
lot
was
of
nice
use.
to see it all being used.
Good job.
Only other updates I had on the New York Forward.
Mhm.
So I reached out to Steve Hunt today. They have not come out with a new application yet. We're assuming it's going to be a September deadline once it's announced.
Okay.
So we have the applications that have been submitted so far. We're going to proceed like that's the deadline. Probably once I get those over to Hartley, we can all reconvene and talk about the projects, both the village projects and the private projects that have been submitted.
You said privately we have,
If they allow okay, let's start this way. If they do not allow the arena to be part of the downtown village, we have $6 million worth of private, proposals so far. And if they do, allow the arena, we're at 14 million. And there are still more proposals coming in by the end of the week. And that $14 million does not include, any of the village page of stuff that we want to do. So that, I'm excited, and I can't wait for it to be officially official, because it's on their website that the deadline is September. So I'm hoping they just announce.
Continue with that. Seems like there's been some momentum.
Yeah, every time we had the 2 meetings, and then it was wait for
Quiet.
everybody's proposals, and I was starting to get nervous because nothing, and then all of a sudden we had $6 million, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely keep it coming. And we have funding. I mentioned to you, Judy, that
Is that the consolidated funding application?
it's the Water Infrastructure Improvement Act. They actually had the same deadline this year as the consolidated funding applications, which is July 28th. So your water project received grant funding from that program, the WIA program. You have applied for the wastewater project, and so far have not been successful, but I would recommend keeping your application in there and resubmit and see if there's an opportunity for funding.
Well, Steve has an email from Gregor that says, put the application in, they'll do it hourly, not to exceed $1,000. And I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with that for the sewer plant infrastructure.
Second.
motion to have VCA apply for the wastewater improvements. Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Is there anything with the CFA grant that we can apply for, or not really? I looked at it.
Yeah, so you and I had talked before about potential opportunities. I'll look through it again. If you have a specific project, that's probably the easiest way to determine if it,
Is that LWRP?
that may be through the CFA, there may be an
You might
opportunity.
want to look at the consolidated funding application online, because it's really not my water sewer infrastructure, it's more, I think, I saw a lot with LWRP in there.
Yeah, Sandy, if there's something that you're thinking of, specific project that was recommended, just let me know and I can
Because we couldn't come up with
search for
anything.
that.
Okay. I know they are applying for couple of different of those grants,
Okay,
Who is,
the town.
the town, okay.
yeah, if there's something specific, just give me a call or shoot me an email and I can take a look and see if it's eligible.
Okay.
And I think the only other thing I had, the water withdrawal application is ongoing. Been working with the town's attorney on that, actually, Town of Alexandria's attorney, to get some information so we can wrap that up.
Any idea when?
Well, one of the things so it's been going on for a couple of years. Some of the water usage data needs to be updated now, and I've actually reached out to Kevin. I think he's gonna be able to get some of the data for me.
Yeah, 'cause I thought last month the town board voted
I was gonna say, I thought they voted
to approve
to
everything.
approve it, yeah. I thought it was done.
Yeah, so some of it is a certification. There's, and the difficult part is the attorney that worked on it for the town is no longer, he passed away. So the new town attorney is trying to go through that information, and we're looking for a certification that the districts were created in accordance with municipal law. So that's one of the items, and I know Jim, if Jim was here, he's reached out to him and explained it to him also. So if there's anything, Sandy, on your end, I know you have connection to the town too, if there's anything.
I thought it was done. I'm quite sure the town attorney came back and they made the adjustments and it was all written, and I'm quite sure it was, I was under the impression it was done.
Okay,
I'll get a hold of Mr. Sweet tomorrow.
Okay, if you wanna give me the information you're looking for water amount, is that something I can pull through the system? Or is that gotta be
It
an
may
actual
be.
report?
and maybe the reports, if Pat was here, he probably keeps it on an Excel file. He
Probably.
probably has all the data, you know,
Okay.
daily, monthly,
I'll reach out to him tomorrow and just ask the question. If
okay,
it's something that I can get access to,
Can you
through
just
his system.
send her the email?
sure.
I have it.
Oh, the one you sent to Kevin? Okay.
I have it.
So we should hopefully have all this by the end of July?
I would say August is realistic to have everything, as long as the certifications are okay and,
Yeah, we
And we
kind
have
of
the
need
data.
this, because, our fear is that at some point, somebody somewhere is going to say, stop withdrawing water. You don't have a permit. They can do that, and,
It won't do that, but
but,
I get it. And I
It's been 4 years.
it's, I know I've discussed it up there, and like I said, I thought it was done.
okay.
Because I'm quite sure Teresa has approved it,
yep, Teresa's all set.
and I really thought it was approved for Supervisor Sweet to sign it, so.
Well, actually, what's needed, I think everything from the supervisor is complete. It's more just it's a legal document now.
Legal aspect.
And I thought that was done, I really
Okay,
thought
so
it was
you'll
done.
I'll get a hold of Mr. Sweet tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, and if there's anything, Sandy, if you have any questions, just send me an email, I can send you the same correspondence.
Okay.
I think that's it, unless there's any questions for me.
Now, where hands are tied as far as waiting for the lower dock, the ramp. Can't do that, can't put the lights up until the new ramp's in. The only thing is thank goodness we got the public floaters in before 4th of July, so it was put together, and that really came together very nicely for the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, definitely, it was nice to have a neighboring community that lets you use a gangway too.
Yep, Cable let us use theirs. Oh my goodness, it's like, you did put in too narrow of a ramp. Well, you do realize it's a loaner, that's not the new one.
Mhm.
Is
The
it?
public has gotta, if you got a question, don't be a keyboard specialist on Facebook, ask us.
I like that.
We are,
Keyboard specialist.
we are trying to be, we're trying to do this, the absolute best for this community. And those of you that are in construction business, you know, you order it, it's on back order, oh my goodness. We're getting it. It is a huge improvement so far, and when we're done, it's gonna be absolutely fabulous. Thanks.
Thanks, Carter. Okay.
Streetscape is,
I got a quick question.
yep,
With this company that has gone bankrupt and stuff, that we're waiting on our gangway and the other dock, is it all possible that they won't provide it at all, or is it just, they will, but it's a wait?
Yeah, so
we're not with,
fulfilling.
Matty is the company that was initially hired for the docks and everything. They filed bankruptcy in January, and then the next company is Unison, and they're the ones, and the top 3 dock builders for the aluminum docks, they're all in Montreal. So Unison is the one that's using Matty's facilities to build our docks.
Okay. So we'll get them, it's just,
Matter of time.
I think it's a matter of time, Sandy.
okay, all right, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. They've been fulfilling the orders, just not in the schedule and timeline that they had told us.
Hurry up and wait.
And they didn't have employees or something, that was. a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, they were short of employees, which is a common theme
Yep.
too.
No employees, back orders. That's all you got.
Number 2.
3 things.
Anything else, Gregory?
I think that's it, unless, like I said, if there's any questions.
Streetscape, as far as the state is, we have, the only thing left to complete is blacktop at the entrance of the Otter Creek boat ramp. And until the water gets down, say, first part of the fall, it's 99% complete for official. And Mr. Fiacco's absolutely promised that it will be taken care of, and, we have done the resolution to pay the town for our share of the project. It's around $309,000 out of a $1.236 million project. So, that's looking really good too. And again, people are going, oh my goodness, the ramp at Otter Creek is steeper than Holland Street. It is. If you have more than 2 boat ramps in the village, at least one of them has to be ADA compliant. The one at Holland Street is ADA compliant. Right?
Yeah, Upper James will be, ADA compliant also.
Yep.
The new gangways.
That's laid out almost 21 feet, so the angle, even at our lowest of low waters, should still be compliant. Right? Anything else?
No, I think.
Thanks, Carter.
Thank you. Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Gregor.
Thanks.
You want your copies?
Yeah, is that all right to take those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gregor. Number 2 on old business, pickleball court, Chili Heath letter.
Me, I'm good.
What's that?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Dear Village Board Trustees, as you know, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States. In keeping with this trend, membership with the St. Lawrence River Rats Pickleball Club, the club, has grown to 189 members. This number increases on a daily basis. Currently, the club uses the village's only 2-line pickleball courts. These courts are also shared with numerous members of the general public, often weekly vacationers to the area, as well as other community organizations, including Hearts Reef. Given the high demand for pickleball courts, it is very common on any given morning or evening that as many as 15 to 20 people are competing to play in these 2 pickleball courts. This high demand often results in long wait times for players wishing to use the courts. While the club appreciates the village's current efforts to construct 2 additional pickleball courts in order to meet this growing demand, it is the club's understanding that these 2 courts cannot be completed this year due to lack of funds. Therefore, in order to address the immediate need for additional pickleball courts, the club is requesting that the village consider dedicating the remaining upper tennis court as a multi-purpose court, thereby accommodating the needs of both tennis and pickleball players. In order to give proper effect to this designation as a multi-purpose court, the club further requests that the tennis courts be modified to include permanent pickleball lanes. Club sincerely believes that the foregoing proposal will provide an equitable balance between those members of our community wishing to play tennis or pickleball. Thank you for this consideration on this matter. Regards, Shelley Gates.
So Shelley had to leave,
She had
Leon
to
is
leave,
here.
yes.
So Leon is here to speak.
Our intentions would be, if allowed, to line the other two courts on the same level with our own monies, if it's approved. We'd like to paint the other two courts on the same level, if possible, for pickleball. Because right now, people have to leave, there's just so many people playing. Those courts are used very rarely up there for tennis.
Cindy?
In this, you say there's 189 members. You only have 54 people with passes.
The others pay when they go.
Okay. I researched this today.
Okay.
Not everybody pays, I don't think, that goes.
I'm not in charge of policing them.
You're in charge of policing?
I said I am not in charge of policing
Okay,
them, that's the
so
person in the booth.
this is an issue.
Pardon me?
This is an issue. They are asked to sign in before they go down and play, and they're not. Because I've gone right up there, I've counted how many people are out there, I go down to the clubhouse, and maybe 10 people have signed in. Meanwhile, there's 20 people.
A lot of people sign in after they're done.
No, they have to sign in before they go.
I'm just telling
And you know why? Because it's an insurance issue. Somebody falls down, breaks their knee or their crown, they were not technically on that court,
Okay.
okay?
And the
You
sign,
gotta let the
there's
public
a,
know that then.
there is a sign that says, please sign in
Yes,
before
but it
play.
doesn't say why.
Shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have to.
Well, we're all
Hey, I pay by
We're gonna
receipt.
dumb it down and tell them that,
I can't
but,
convince the other players, only
Yep.
myself.
Well,
okay,
I think we're talking to you tonight because you're here representing all of them.
Our club
Right.
normally.
So, yeah, that's
Okay,
why,
and the next issue is, I was told there's no such thing as a club. We can play when we want.
I have never heard that, I don't know where it's coming from.
Okay.
You hear a lot more than I do.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
Okay, that's good.
I hear it every day.
it's
From who?
I'm not telling you.
community, tennis players,
Of course.
Of
No,
course.
pickleball
Now-
players,
Pickleball
not
players.
tennis players.
pickleball players.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, my
Could you
take,
address the thing that we're coming here for? Would we be allowed to paint the lines on the upper with our own money?
we're gonna talk and discuss it here. We got two court areas all set to be painted and fenced, right?
Right.
I do not have a price tag on how much it would cost to paint the two new courts for pickleball. I don't have-
$40,000.
How much?
$40,000 for the fence, the nets, and
No, how much would it cost to paint the deck?
$10,000.
10,000.
wait, to paint what?
The pickleball court,
Right, the one that's blacktop right now.
Right.
yes.
Okay, we're not talking about tennis courts.
No, we're talking,
Pickleball
we're
court,
talking
okay.
the new blacktop area. So it'll cost 10,000 to paint the new pickleball blacktop area. And there's an estimate for the fence to go around the new blacktop area for pickleball. And it's anywhere from 19,000 to
23.
23,000.
But are you out of funds?
I'm sorry?
Are you out of funds to complete that work?
Yes. And if you take 189 members, if you divided, let's say 40,000, that's $215
Okay.
a
I'm not-
member.
I didn't come here to talk about the that's not moving forward. I came here to talk about lining the existing courts at the upper level.
I will say this, about 8 years ago, the tennis players raised $40,000 to refurbish the tennis courts. Between
That's fine,
betterment,
but that's in the past. We're talking about the present.
It's
Yes.
not in the past, because those courts wouldn't exist
Those-
in
those
the
courts were
magnificent shape they're in now
absolutely
without them raising
deplorable,
that money.
and the condition they're in today is because a group said, we're gonna refurbish it.
Well, who owns the courts, the village or the tennis players?
The village owns the courts.
So it's their decision on whether they can be lined or not.
Yep.
Am I correct?
But we had volunteers raise the money to make it look nice, for tennis, okay? I'm gonna be quiet and recuse myself from this because it just,
So can you play on that court if we get it painted, the new one? If we get it painted and there's no fence,
No,
why not?
because you have to chase balls when they're missed, and it drops off about 2 feet on both sides, all the sides.
Right.
so
That's not good. Someone will get hurt.
it, you're correct. It's not actually a safe playing surface the way it is right now.
Can I ask a silly question, not knowing a whole lot about pickleball or trying to stay in my own lane? Why do you not, as a pickleball group, have a fundraiser like the tennis players did years ago?
We're working on it right now with PAYA.
Okay?
Instead of permanently painting, can we get a temporary tape type system on it?
Now, the surface won't be acceptable with the pits in it.
Can I ask a question? He said the upper, are you talking about the ones that have no lines at all now? Or is this a different, I don't know, I've
The upper
never.
courts have one court that is divided into 2 pickle and tennis,
Mhm.
and the other court adjacent to it is just tennis.
Okay.
And if it would have been lined in the beginning, you wouldn't have spent all that money trying to prepare new ones.
But the tennis players don't wanna play on your pickleball lines,
Why?
because it's distracting.
We play
I
on-
wouldn't wanna
we
play, I'm a
play on-
tennis player, I
We play
wouldn't
on
wanna
theirs, and I
play.
don't even notice their lines.
You don't, but they do.
It's the same scenario. They have
Okay.
white lines for tennis, yellow for pickleball. When I
It's our
play
time.
pickleball, I play on the yellow, and the white doesn't mean a thing to me, I don't even see them. Now, how can it be different for them?
Cindy, it's our time.
Okay.
And how much would it cost approximately to paint lines for pickleball on top of the tennis court?
$40 a gallon of paint, I think it is.
Nothing, we would do it all, labor and material free.
But, again, I don't know a lot of about pickleball or tennis, but I think maybe, I understand there's a lot of pickleball players and pickleball's new, but given the fact that, to me, if I was the tennis players that years ago, doesn't matter if it was 2 or 10 years ago, they did it, I think we deserve to give them a little bit of respect for what they did do to make the tennis courts better. So, I don't know that I would be voting to paint lines on the tennis courts,
So,
the remaining for pickleball. I mean,
so we're gonna wait another year, maybe 2, before the village gets the money to finish the 2 that are started?
well,
That's my
I
goal.
think we kinda have had conversations, maybe not with you, and maybe you don't have enough people here, and maybe there needs to be a
We
sub-meeting.
didn't want a lot of people here because of what happened last time.
Right, because I think the dilemma is, everybody comes in here angry. The village does not owe anybody recreational pickleball courts. It was suggested, I believe, I'm told several times, why doesn't your group, a couple of months ago, have a fundraiser to raise some money. And I think you'd find that we'd all do what we could to help with that. But for me, just to take what the tennis players did and say, oh, well, we're just gonna ignore what you paid for, I don't know that that's right either. And for anybody to come in here and get upset, you know, is wrong too. If you have 189 players, like it's in the letter, but if 189 people haven't paid and don't go up to the court or the building, the clubhouse, and pay to be there and follow the directions, which we can't tell me they don't know by this point. Let me just finish. I'm saying you guys need to do a little bit more homework, and maybe we all figure out how to get that new.
Well, I've got to tell you, Mary Lou Williams hasn't been playing because she's hurt her leg. She sits there, everybody comes through the gate, she tells them to down and K inside.
Okay. Well, good.
And I'm there. Whenever I'm there.
I would like to interject one thing. Maybe we can check with New York State Parks and Recreation for grant money.
I did.
Okay.
I have. I've researched it. I spend hours on this to try to help you. And I just get negativity fed back to me. But I spend hours on this, looking for grants, trying to figure out a way. I spoke to a group of ladies that I said, I will do anything to help you fundraise. So now you tell me it's gone to pay it. No one told me.
Ed hasn't told us how much they're gonna give you, and they're also gonna help us with the fundraiser.
Okay.
But why announce it when you don't know for sure what's gonna happen?
Because I could help you do that. I write grants. I've written hundreds of grants. That's why I know how to research grants. But nobody's coming to me saying anything.
And I think you're also fighting, I mean, not you, but the pickleball group as a group is fighting a lot of negativity that has come this direction, when at a certain level, the one everybody should be talking to is Cindy, and everybody has, I mean, I don't know that I hear much nice stuff from your pickleball group. And, you know.
When you see stuff on, and I hate going to the stupid thing, Facebook, and the rude remarks from people that don't even live in the village, and half of them don't even live in the town, they might come up here for the summer and bash the village because, oh, they're not doing this, they're not doing, again, they're KBS, a keyboard specialist on Facebook, just ranting. It makes us go, I'm not gonna do anything for the people because they're not helping themselves. I apologize, but sooner or later, all the groups, tennis player, pickleball, village, town, community, work together and say, let's get some money and let's get this bleeping thing together, looking nice, and play. That's what we really need, Lena. And as far as, let's get to the letter. A vote on whether we authorize them to paint the tennis courts with permanent, or we work out a different solution on getting the other new courts together as quick as we can.
You know, if you get the fencing done and buy the materials, we'll do the rest on the new ones. All the labor, it takes 2 coats, stripe it, we'll install the net, we'll buy the net.
Who will?
Pickleball.
I will.
You will?
I'm a contractor.
I know
will
who
get it
you
done.
are.
Leon, can you, just for my own curiosity, out of those 189 pickleball players, how many of them are village players and live in the
I can't tell you.
village?
I didn't write the letter.
39 live in the village.
I just got stuck here because my wife left.
Yes, he did.
There's 39 that live in the village.
So,
Out of the 50, what did I say, 54 that have passes, where all these other people live, we don't know.
So
We can look in the book.
39 out of the 54,
39 out of the 54 live in the
people that have
village paid.
And you have the property balance of those are town,
Some of the names
which I am,
I,
I'm town myself.
yeah, I've never heard of one before. So it's like, we want to look at,
So what was your offer again, Leon?
Pardon me?
What was your offer?
We'll take care of that, you supply the paint, we'll supply the net, we'll supply the labor, to get it all done.
if we do the fencing, you'll do the nets, the paint, and everything.
Do we have the
Supply all the
funds?
labor.
No,
Molly, do we have the funds
No.
for a fence?
You never requested 10,000 from the town?
That is the town, okay, so the town gives the village money every year. The town dictates what we spend the money on. That is,
I can talk to Mr. Sweet about
What's it
that.
normally spent on?
I think there's what, 10,000 in this year's account, okay? For, under the town budget.
what is it, village enhancement, isn't
Yes.
that what they call it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sandy,
but wasn't
isn't that what
this
it's
year's
called?
all used? Or we didn't get the new
We haven't received any funds yet, we
For-
haven't asked for any funds yet, but,
for June?
correct. And the previous funds the village had are gone. That $25,000 plus
Yes.
has been eaten up, I'm sorry, and I'm not saying, by that. The stone,
McAdams.
the paving, asphalt, all that. So, that has all been utilized. And that money originally was for the playground at Camp Thompson's. And that we got through Streetscape. So that money was there, so they utilized it for the
Didn't it
pickleball.
offer $5,000, one group so far?
So, I was under a whole misunderstanding, I'm not quite sure what group it was.
It's not pay it,
Wasn't pay it.
no.
Okay, I'm not sure where the funding was coming from. I heard that at one time we had funds coming from someone that offered funds for the village, but I haven't heard anything since, nothing has come across the way. So in my perspective, as the clerk treasurer for the village, I can't say we can use any money here or here until the village has it in hand. And that's how that works.
I'll contact Mr. Sweet about the 10,000 in the village enhancement, if that.
But pay it is offering funds.
Pardon me?
Pay it's offering funds, but Donna hasn't told me how much.
Okay,
I mean, if
Yeah, it has to
it's
have
enough to
info in
cover
it.
the paint, then you're obligated for the fence. We'll do the rest.
Yeah. Right, okay, so it's say it's 19,000 for the fence. Why doesn't one of your group show up at when's the next town board meeting?
Next Wednesday night is a town board meeting, especially with you being a town resident rather than a village resident. Go to them and say, hey, you know, you don't have to say with your other funds that you gave them, but, you know, the village has gotten this
Exhausted.
far, but they've exhausted their refunds. Would you be
still
willing
want
to
the
put
village
the
to
fence
ask
up?
the town.
Right, that's not him.
And,
Let them,
I mean, they can have a quote for a fence in no time flat, because we got two
We've
different
got
projects that
so
we
many
got.
quotes.
she's got quotes already.
we've got one.
Yeah, but
quote.
they do their own.
One
The
term.
town would want their own.
Yeah, I mean, they would put it out to bid the way it's supposed to be, it wouldn't be just whatever, but, and get quotes and then ask if they'd be willing to help, and then, you know, your group say, okay, we'll do the finishing part.
Yeah, see what the town will give, if they're interested, if they'll give that 10 minimally. But it has to be said that it's for
Pickleball.
the pickleball by the town.
So I'll get with you, we can both talk to the town board, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
I wrote a note to the mayor, I'll call Brent, and they can discuss that also.
Did we get the 10,000 from last year?
Last year's utilization, I do not know that.
Okay.
I'll talk to him about
Did
that.
they,
I think
I thought
that
we got all
10,000 was supposed to go to with the 25,000 with what we've done so far on the pickleball.
well, then we haven't received that
Okay,
either, so there would be your,
so, right now, let's address whether we paint or we wait. At least a week or two, see what
I think we should table it until we see what the town will say. If the town will help pay for a fence, and if there's money coming to the village from the town that can be designated for the pickleball court. I'd
Put your
rather
motion
wait.
to table.
Yeah, wait.
Motion by- Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany to table this subject. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This might not be that painful if there is actually money
If we can
available.
find the money and get that completed, that'll make them happy and that'll give you a brand new service.
And Betterment has money, I'm going there next Monday, so I'll put the word in for you guys.
That was the one that was said, it was Betterment that was said at 5,000.
Yeah, Betterment had 5,000 for you last year, but it's still there, they have not spent it, it's sitting in a little
Okay.
pickleball pot.
Well, we
Pickleball
can
pot, that's interesting.
nickel and dime it and
Yeah.
come up
yeah.
with the money.
And if pay it gives you some, maybe the beautification ladies, because what's gonna happen when this fence goes up? There's no place to sit within the fence.
No.
So with when they got the benches and everything before, you've got people, I mean, I'll donate a bench. You put my name on the back of that, so you have benches out there. The beautification ladies already said, I talked to them, they'll come up and put some pots in there, so you
Well, I
have
know all
some pretty
about,
flowers.
I put them together for the tennis people last year, or the year before.
Right, I know.
Put them all up for them.
I think,
Hey, if nothing against tennis players, it's just the fact that that service sits there. We've been putting temporary stuff on it for years.
I get it, but I think if your group of 189 had some sort of committee or hierarchy that can come and reach out and talk to the village in a more positive way, instead of always being negative about it, you might get a little farther.
I think are going at this point in the right direction, that we can talk about it, look at different organizations for money, whether we have options within the village budget, with the town budget, and get it done.
Have you thought about having a pickleball tournament?
They have, yes.
Okay. Because I know Betterment, that can go in Betterment umbrella for next year, because they've been talking about it. And Melissa and I sat down and figured out if every one of these 189 people come and play pickleball in a tournament, you can make some big bucks.
Gotta have the courts to do it.
Yeah.
No, they can do it right now with what they have. They can do it with what they
Right
have.
now, 8 people can play.
It would be an all-night thing, but, all right. Okay.
We all set, Liam?
Yeah, just give me a call.
Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.
No business, pay app number 10 for DC Builders, $405,863.75.
I'll make the motion to pay up number 10.
Motion
I'll
by
second
trustee
it.
Fulmer, second by trustee Demo, to pay DC Builders, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pay up number 5 for SNL Electric, $28,714.93.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany to pay SNL Electric, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number 3, refund Kennedy Garlock taxes, he paid it twice. Did he really? Good for him.
He paid it and then his mortgage company paid it also, so it was a,
Okay.
Nah, we'll just keep it, we'll use that to pay for the, help pay for the stuff, no.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Demo, second by trustee Fulmer to refund Mr. Garlock taxes $947. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4, Hutchinson Boat Works, no truck signs. We've seen the truck signs.
First, just really quickly, I was at the beach on July 5th, and I could not believe it was pristine. I mean, it was great. My granddaughter and I went up to use the bathrooms. It was, I thought for July 5th that it could have gotten in that great a shape, because I'm happy with the garbage from all the pictures.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
We put that on Facebook.
Sorry, I did think the idea about the
Okay.
base, but I won't put that yet. But, our association in Florida has just started a did you know type of thing that they put out on Facebook weekly. And that might be something really cool, like, who knew, I mean, if you attend the meetings, you probably knew, but who knew that one of the laundry rooms has to be ADA compliant, and that's why there's a difference. You know, just little things like that might make people understand.
Good idea.
Yeah.
But, in any event, I just had a question, all of a sudden, I don't even know when they cropped up, because we're also unobservant, but there's no truck signs on Bethune Street. I see it, I had a paper with, I took some pictures there. They are right after the, post office on both sides. The bottom picture I took from behind of it, from behind it, so you can kind of see where it is, but as far as I can tell, searching on, the New York State DMV, which is impossible to do, but those signs technically mean no trucking, no truck can go beyond this point. The police officer was here Monday morning, or Friday morning when I came in to ask about it. He didn't know anything about them. And said, you know, he certainly wouldn't stop delivery trucks from delivering, but.
Is it something new that just, to
It
me,
just cropped up recently, and I tried to call, they said, try calling Jared, and I did, but he was going on vacation. I called on Friday, but we're all busy, I get that.
We talked about this last fall. I don't remember what month, what meeting we talked about, but
Oh, I remember.
Yeah,
But-
I remember it too. The truck got,
The truck got stuck in, I went to Garlock.
when it goes down the hill to make a left to go to Garlock, it's either getting stuck and back up stuck, or they're almost running into the house
Right,
on the corner. And
And they bashed the wall.
right.
That wall that's there, the truck went up against it. Some of the trucks were getting bent and they were taking the stone or the brick
Right, so
out
my
of that
question
wall.
then is it more of a fact that you want people, truckers who have deliveries coming down Washington Street and backed up? Is that the intention? Because
The
right now,
problem
the
was
way.
their GPS, like say you got somebody delivering something from Connecticut.
Right.
Their GPS brings them down in
Right.
front of the post office.
Right,
They can't swing that corner.
right.
And those people in that house right there, it's like, here they are, right on my front porch.
Right, I'm just saying that technically, I mean, I just think it needs to be, I don't know, explained a little better, because right now that says, stop, turn around, you can't bring the garbage truck down here. Or, you know, stop, turn around, or you are playing against not coming, because, I mean, those trucks, those signs mean no trucks, period.
so, number one, you're questioning about delivery to
Right, just to,
your business. I mean,
specifically us, like, can we get our gas? But I'm just saying, I don't know if that's technically the proper sign, and I don't care what, but or maybe there needs another sign that says director.
they have Crosman Street that they could go down and
Right.
deliver. I mean,
That's what I'm just saying, I don't know.
is it tractor trailers delivered to your?
No, they don't, I was just, but technically that sign means anything over 26,000 pounds.
Yeah, 'cause with the people down here that live there, if they have propane, and the propane truck comes.
Right,
The
that's what I'm saying.
propane truck's gonna go, oops, I can't go down
Right,
there.
that's what I'm just saying, I didn't know if the
We'll
sign
have to
needs-
clarify it, but it's
could there be a
aimed
detour?
specifically at your tractor trailers.
Right.
Because,
We need a better sign there then.
yes, we need a better sign.
detour.
We can correct the
Or-
sign.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
More specific sign.
yes, we can
Maybe a
get that
white one with
corrected.
specific
Or
white,
one way, you know.
something beyond
See, another thing
30 feet
is
or whatever.
these big trucks making that turn, left-hand turn,
Mhm.
going onto their sidewalk, and they have actually broken their sewer lines
Yeah, oh, I know.
and water lines, and it's just, these people have spent money,
Yep.
and yet, these big trucks,
I'm not complaining, I was just looking.
yeah, she just
For an
wants to know if she
alternative.
can still get
For
her.
clarification.
Yeah,
yes,
get
we'll
it
get the
delivered.
deliveries, we'll clarify the
Yeah,
sign.
I'm not complaining, I was just,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I saw it, I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's,
Well,
I mean,
That's good, thank you.
no.
Yeah.
And then we started wondering if it was even the village who put them up, or did somebody just put them up?
We'll get those signs clarified,
Thank you.
okay?
That's fine.
Anything, thank you. Anything else?
I don't have any.
Public concerns? I think we need to go to executive for a specific personnel.
Yes.
Motion?
I'll make a motion, we go into executive
I'll second.
session to discuss personnel issues.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's 45, my gosh, I wish my life away. 45,
Is it
yeah.
6?